So, Mark, I was thinking,
About what?
well, you always complain about how late you wake up.
Don't even remind me. I woke up at 8:10 today. Totally late. I was supposed to be at work by 8:11.
So, you arrived on time, right?
No, I arrived at work 10 minutes late, but I was on time for my coffee.
Oh, okay. So, you were just at the coffee machine instead of on time for the meeting.
Well, Sarah, you see, the coffee was my priority.
Ah, yes, at the coffee machine, but late for the meeting. Classic.
Well, that's why I need to learn these prepositions in on and at.
Well, you came to the right place, Mark. Let's dive in so you don't make on time mistakes like that again.
Sounds like a plan.
Hey there, English learners. Welcome back to another episode of Speaking English Daily Dose.
Hey everyone, it's Sara and Mark here, ready to help you improve your English in a relaxed and friendly way.
If you're new here, this is a calm space where we help you feel confident in English. So don't worry if you're a beginner or an intermediate learner.
That's right, and today's episode is going to be super helpful because we're tackling something you're definitely going to use every day, prepositions.
Specifically, we're talking about in, on, and at, how to use them in everyday conversations. We'll help you describe your daily routine like a pro.
So grab a cup of coffee or tea, get comfortable, and let's get started.
So, Mark, did you sleep well last night?
I don't know if well is the word. I stayed up late trying to figure out in which time zone I'm supposed to be.
Oh, that's a good one. I was in bed by 10 p.m., but I still woke up at 5 a.m.
Ugh, that's so early. I don't know how you do it.
Well, I guess I'm just one of those early birds. There's something about the quiet morning hours that make me feel like I can get so much done.
Oh, early bird, huh? I'll stick to my evening routine. The night is my time to shine.
Yeah, I can tell. You always seem to be wide awake at midnight, sending me texts about how late you're staying up.
Well, some of us are night owls. I get my best ideas when the world is asleep.
Maybe you should try waking up at 5 a.m. for a change. You might get some of those ideas done a little earlier.
You're kidding, right? I barely survive my morning coffee without wanting to fall asleep again.
Come on, just imagine. You could have a whole hour to yourself before the world starts. You'd be so productive.
Productive, right. I'll believe it when I see it.
All right, all right. But let's get back to in, on, and at. We have some fun examples coming up, so stay tuned. So let's start with the basics.
Yes, first let's talk about in. You use in when you're talking about a larger space, like a city, a country, or a room.
Right. For example, I live in Toronto, or I'll see you in the kitchen.
How I spend a lot of time in the kitchen. It's my favorite place after all.
Yeah, you're always cooking up something.
Well, it's in my blood. But seriously, in is for things that happen inside or within a larger space.
Exactly, like we went for a walk in the park.
Right, in the park, in a building, in a car, even in a country. That's how big the area can be.
So when I'm talking about cities or countries, I'll use in. For example, I live in Canada.
And here I thought you lived on the couch.
All right, Mark, let's dive deeper into how we use in for more than just locations. We also use in for time.
That's right. For time, we use in when referring to larger periods like months, years, or seasons. For example, we're going on vacation in July, or I was born in 1995.
Exactly. We don't say, I was born on 1995. That would be incorrect. We always say, I was born in 1995. It's the same with seasons. I love going to the beach in the summer.
So when you want to talk about a broader time frame, you'll use in.
Right. You would never say, I will see you on the summer. It just doesn't sound right. It's always in summer. Now let's put this into practice with a few real-life examples. You can use in when you're talking about time, space, and even activities.
Here's a fun example. The other day, I was in the kitchen trying to cook a fancy dinner, but guess what? I forgot to buy the main ingredient.
Classic. What was it, Mark? Spaghetti without pasta?
Worse, I tried making a stir fry without any vegetables, so I ended up making a pizza in the oven instead.
Ah, yes. Typical Mark. Always finding a solution in the kitchen, even if it's the wrong one.
Exactly. And guess what? I also realized I had no sauce in the fridge. I had to make some with ketchup. Not great, but hey, it worked.
Well, at least you didn't burn it in the oven this time. While in is pretty straightforward, English learners sometimes make mistakes when using it. Let's go over a few of them.
Absolutely. One common mistake is when people say, I live in at Toronto.
Yes, that's a double preposition. We just say, I live in Toronto. No need for the extra at.
Another mistake people make is I was born at 2000.
Exactly. You would never say at for a year. You always use in when talking about a year. So the correct sentence is, I was born in 2000.
It's easy to mix up, but once you practice, it becomes second nature.
All right, let's quickly recap what we learned about in.
So we use in when talking about larger spaces like cities, countries, and rooms. For example, I live in Toronto or I'm in the kitchen.
Right. And for time, we use in for months, years, and seasons. I was born in 1995, or I'm going on vacation in July.
And remember, in is for anything that's inside or within boundaries, whether it's physical spaces or time.
Oh, very funny, Mark. But let's move on to at.
Exactly. At is used for specific points or locations. It's all about being at a particular place. For example, I'll meet you at the park.
Or, I'm at the coffee shop right now.
Exactly. And at is also used for exact times. You'll say something like, I wake up at 6 a.m. or we meet at noon.
That's when you're up and about and I'm still sleeping.
You're right. I don't think I've seen 6 a.m. in years.
I get it. But at is great when you're talking about something very specific, like a particular time or location. You can also say, I'm at work, or I'll be at the party by 7 p.m.
That's when I'll be trying to find the perfect coffee spot at the event, of course.
So, what makes at so special compared to in or on? Well, it's all about being specific. At is used when you are talking about a point or a location that is precise, rather than just an area or a surface.
Exactly. At is for places that are fixed and exact. For example, when I say I'm at the bus stop, I'm referring to a specific spot. It's a defined place, unlike something bigger like a city or a country.
That's right. At is often used with smaller, more pinpointed places, like a bus stop or restaurant or even a person's house. I'll meet you at your house.
Yeah, and I'm at my friend's place. It's the same as saying you're in a specific room, but at is for the whole location, not inside the walls.
Now, at is also very useful for exact times. It helps us talk about specific moments in the day.
You'll see at used for hours and minutes. For example, I wake up at 7 a.m. or we have class at 10:30.
That's when you're still getting your beauty sleep, right?
Exactly. But if you're telling someone when something will happen, you're likely to use at. You might say, I'll be at the meeting at 3 p.m.
Yes, and it's great for talking about events as well. The concert is at 8 p.m. or I'll arrive at 7:15.
And when we're talking about places, here are some of the most common locations that we use at for: restaurants, cafes, events, parks, stations, and stores. For example, I'll meet you at the cafe. She is at the store right now. Let's meet at the concert hall.
And for times, like we've mentioned, it works for everything from hours of the day to specific times in the afternoon or evening. So you could say, I'll call you at 3 p.m. We meet at noon. The train leaves at midnight.
Right. It's always for very specific moments.
Another interesting use of at is when talking about events or holidays. We use at to talk about general events or gatherings. For example, we'll see you at the wedding, or are you going at the party this weekend?
Oh, yes, and we don't say on or in when talking about these. We always say at. You wouldn't say, I'm going on the wedding or I'm attending in the concert. No, it's always at.
That would sound pretty strange. It's always at. So we say, I'll be at the party at 8 p.m. or I'm meeting my friends at the concert.
Right. And here's an important note. We use at when we're not talking about movement from one place to another. For example, you can say, I'm at the park when you're already there. I'm at the restaurant when you're sitting down and not about to leave.
So, if you're saying you are going to a place, you wouldn't use at. You'd say something like, I'm going to the park. But once you're there, you'd say, I'm at the park.
Exactly. It's about being in one place, but if you're still moving toward it, you use to.
Now, let's talk about something a bit different. We also use at when referring to specific holidays or periods of the day. You'll say, I'll see you at Christmas. She's coming at New Year's. I'm at work all day, but I'll be free at night.
That's true. It helps clarify the exact time or occasion when something is happening. So at Christmas refers to the general holiday period, and at night refers to a specific time during the evening.
While at is used often in English, it's still easy to make mistakes. Let's go over a few examples of things that people get wrong.
One common mistake is when people say, I am at 6 in the morning.
That's incorrect. You don't need to say at 6 o'clock. Instead, you'd say, I wake up at 6 a.m. or I meet you at 6.
I see what you mean. The preposition at should only be used for the exact point in time, not like at 6 o'clock.
Exactly. Another mistake could be, I'm at the airport to fly.
That's another one. You can't say at the airport to fly. You should just say, I'm at the airport. The action of flying happens at the airport, but we don't add at in this case for the purpose of the action. Let me tell you about something funny. The other day, I was at the coffee shop trying to order my usual, but they didn't have my favorite blend.
Oh no, what did you do?
I stood at the counter for a solid 5 minutes trying to decide what to do. Eventually, I just said, I'll have whatever is at the top of the menu.
Classic Mark, always making decisions under pressure at the counter.
Exactly, but it's funny how we use at when talking about a moment, and then it just becomes part of the story.
So let's quickly recap everything we learned about at today. You use at when you're talking about specific places, I'm at the store. Exact times, I wake up at 6 a.m. Events and holidays, I'm going at Christmas. The exact point in the day, I'm free at night.
And don't forget, it's for things that happen at a precise location or moment, not a general area or time span.
Now, let's talk about on. You use on for surfaces, like I put my phone on the table.
And I always drop it on the floor. Oops.
Yeah, that's why we say, be careful not to leave your things on the floor.
And I left my book on the desk all night.
Exactly. So on is used for things that are physically on top of something else. The first thing to remember about on is that it's all about surfaces. When something is physically placed on top of something else, we use on. Think about a table, a shelf, a chair, or even the ground. For example, I put my keys on the counter. The cat is sitting on the chair. I left my jacket on the sofa.
Exactly. It's as simple as imagining a surface that something is resting on.
When you place something down or something is resting on something else, you use on.
Right. It's not inside, not under, but on top. Like when you say the book is on the shelf. That means the book is sitting on top of the shelf, not inside it or underneath it.
And let's not forget that on is often used for flat horizontal surfaces. You can think of tables, desks, counters, and floors as examples. If something is placed on one of these flat, level surfaces, you'll use on.
Exactly. It's almost like there's a line in space that something is resting on. For example, I placed my laptop on the desk. The desk is the flat surface and the laptop is resting on it.
And don't forget about the floor. You can say, I left my shoes on the floor. It's still a flat surface, even if it's on the ground.
Though I hope you don't leave your shoes on the floor too often. Someone might trip over them.
Well, I usually do leave them on the floor, but it's a hazard for sure.
Now, on is also really important when talking about days and dates.
Right. When you're talking about a specific day or date, we always use on. For example, I have a meeting on Monday, or my birthday is on December 5th.
Yes, I love using on for days. It makes everything feel clear and organized. For instance, I'll see you on Friday.
Yeah, it's the perfect way to talk about when things happen. We're meeting on Saturday, or I'm going to the beach on July 1st. It just works every time.
Exactly. And it's not just for days of the week. On works for specific dates, too, like I'll visit my parents on Christmas Eve, or we're leaving on March 10th.
Let's go through a few more examples to really hammer this in. We have a picnic on Sunday. I'll be on vacation on the 25th. The party is on New Year's Eve.
And you'll always say on for the day or the date, not in or at. For example, the event is on Friday, but you wouldn't say in Friday or at Friday.
Got it. On is the preposition we use when we're talking about a specific day or date.
But on is also useful in some more abstract ways when talking about social settings or situations. For example, we use on when talking about a platform or media, like I saw your post on Instagram, or we're having a meeting on Zoom.
Yes, so even though it's not a physical surface, it still feels like something you are interacting on.
Right. And we use on when talking about things happening in the media or platforms that you interact with, like the news is on TV, or you can listen to the podcast on Spotify.
It's all about the platform, whether it's a physical surface or an online one. It's what you're engaging with, on which you're interacting.
So, what are some common mistakes people make when using on?
One common mistake is using on with certain places where it's not needed. For example, people often say, I live on London.
Oh no, it should be I live in London. You use in for cities and countries. You use on for surfaces.
Right, so I live in London, but when you talk about your phone resting on the desk, you say my phone is on the desk.
Exactly. And another mistake might be using on when talking about something that's inside something else. For example, I put my phone on my bag.
No, it should be in my bag if your phone is inside the bag. You only say on when it's resting on top of the bag. Let me tell you a quick story. I was on my way to a meeting when I realized I had left my laptop on the desk at home.
Oh no, what did you do?
Well, I went back on the subway on my way home and I grabbed my laptop, but now I always make sure my laptop is on my desk so I don't forget it again.
Classic. See, that's the perfect example of using on because it's a surface you can put things on.
Exactly, and now I'll always double check before I leave. I'll always make sure my stuff is on the desk, not forgotten at home.
To recap everything we learned today, we use on for physical surfaces. I left my keys on the table. Days and dates. We're meeting on Monday. Platforms are mediums. I saw the movie on Netflix.
And remember, on is for things that are resting on a surface, whether it's physical or abstract, like a time or platform.
Now let's practice these with real-life examples.
Okay, I have one. Yesterday, I was at the gym when I realized I forgot my shoes.
Oh no, were you in the gym at least?
Yeah, I was in the gym, but I couldn't run.
You can't run on empty feet.
True, but I did some stretching in the gym instead.
See, you made the best of it. But this is how we use in, on, and at in our daily routines.
It's all about the right preposition for the right situation.
When we use in, we're talking about being inside something like a room, a country, or even a car. For example, I'm in the kitchen, or I live in Canada. You're inside a larger space, and in helps us describe that.
At, on the other hand, is used for specific places or points. It's about being at a particular location. So when I say I'm at the gym, I'm referring to that specific spot. At is also used for times, like I wake up at 6 a.m. or I'll meet you at 3 p.m.
On is used for surfaces or days. For example, my phone is on the table, or I'll see you on Friday. On tells us that something is resting on a surface, or it's used when referring to specific days or dates. So when I say I'm in the gym, it means I'm inside the gym. But if I say I'm at the gym, I'm talking about being at that specific place.
Exactly. And for times, we say I'll meet you at noon or my class is at 10 a.m.
And remember, on is for surfaces. I put my book on the shelf, or I left my keys on the table.
And we also use on for days, like we meet on Monday.
Yes, so in, on, and at are easy to use once you know the right situation. Practice them, and you'll sound more natural in your English conversations.
Well, I'm ready to start using these more often.
Perfect. Let's keep practicing.
Let's break down some important phrases you'll want to know.
Absolutely. Let's go over 7 phrases from our conversation today. First up, we have in the kitchen. This means being inside the space where you cook. For example, you might say, I was in the kitchen making coffee. A common mistake people make is saying, I'm inside kitchen, but the correct phrase is, I'm in the kitchen.
Next, at the park refers to a specific place where you might meet someone. For instance, I'll meet you at the park at 3 p.m. The mistake here is saying I am in the park, but it should be I am at the park.
Then we have on the table, which means something is placed on a flat surface. For example, I left my phone on the table. A common error would be saying on the table. We don't need the extra just on the table is correct.
Now, let's talk about in the morning, which refers to a specific time of day. You might say, I go jogging in the morning. People sometimes say on the morning, but remember, the correct preposition is in the morning.
Moving on to at noon. This is used to indicate a specific time of the day, like we'll meet at noon. A typical mistake is saying on noon, but the right way to phrase it is at noon.
Next is on Monday, which refers to a specific day of the week. For example, I'll see you on Monday. Some people mistakenly say in Monday, but it should always be on Monday.
Lastly, we have at work. This is used to describe being at your place of employment. For example, I'm at work now. The common mistake here is saying in work, but the correct phrase is at work.
Now that we've gone over those, remember, it's all about using the right preposition for the right situation. Great job, everyone! So today we learned use in for large areas like cities, countries, and rooms.
And use at for specific places or times.
And use on for surfaces, days, and dates.
And remember, prepositions are so important in everyday conversations. Don't forget to practice with your friends and family.
Now it's time for the question of the day. We'd love to hear your answers in the comments below.
Here's the question. What do you do in the morning? Do you have a routine at a specific time or on a certain day?
You can say, I go jogging in the morning, or I meditate at 7 a.m.
Or you could say, I work on Mondays. Whatever your routine, let us know.
That's all for today's episode of Speaking English Daily Dose.
Thanks for hanging out with us, and we hope you've learned a lot today.
Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss an episode.
We'll see you next time. Take care and keep practicing your English.